Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We're doing another update on SNDL. It's been about 2 days since I made an update, and I just want to cover where their stock's going. Now, we've actually had some really good news regarding the stock, and the good news pertains about keeping the stock above $1, because in the long-term scheme of things, I'm not looking at SNDL for a quick pump. If you're in the stock, you want a gradual push up to that $1.50, $1.70 range, and I do believe it's possibly in the works. But over the next 2 to 3 days, I could see a little bit of downside going into maybe Monday and Tuesday to that $1 mark, and I'm going to explain exactly why, but I am not bearish on the stock. Looking at it, it looks extremely strong. I cannot emphasize that enough. We're going to cover a few articles and then do a little bit of charting as well, so stay with me. But before we get into that content, I need you to do one thing and one thing only. Hit that sub button down below, leave a thumbs up, and make sure you have the notifications turned on. I'm posting videos every single day, doing constant updates on the stocks that I'm trading, and then giving you long-term gems as well. Tonight, I'll actually be covering my best and most valuable mineral play in the portfolio. We'll be covering that after this video, so make sure you stay tuned. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get to it. Okay, so the big thing we need to cover first with SNDL is the offering it just had. Actually, the price of that offering is the most interesting factor regarding the stock, and I think this is very good for the stock because they raised a good bit of capital at this overall valuation. So let's get into that article. SNDL Growers Inc. closed a share offering valued at roughly $74.5 million this week. But what did they offer the actual valuation at? They unveiled a registered offering of 60.5 million Series A units sold at $1 each. So the $1 each is the key point that has me ecstatic about this stock. The fact that it's at $1, which is the price it needs to hold to stay maintained on the Nasdaq for these warrants to go into effect. That's a very good thing for the stock. So they actually raised enough capital at that $1 marker. So I think there's a high chance that we sit at this $1 marker. And like I said, if we can hold above the $1 marker for at least another week, maintaining on the Nasdaq for holding above that price, there's a high possibility we start to see some real movement on the stock towards that $1.50 to $1.70. So if you're buying at $1, that's an easy 50 to 70% on your investment. One of the bearish things looking at the stocks is the overall volume. If we look from the January 28th, when we get that Wall Street bet hype going on with the stock, we had 2 billion in volume. As we have seen gradually going down, it has been halving. Actually, on February 1st, we got a little bit of a boost, but since then it's been halving from 2 billion to 1 billion to 1.7, then halved again to 900, down to 600, now to 300. I can assume the volume is going to continue to die down. I do expect a sharp increase come Monday morning though, and going through the next week, I could see that volume really increasing. We see that overall, the average of this volume is around 200 to 300 mil. So that's actually really good to know that we're sitting back at about that average. And if we can maintain some gradual growth or just sideways movement around that $1 area, I see some major upside coming in the coming weeks. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But there's one thing that we have to do, and it's always look at the potential negatives. So the one thing going about this stock is that it was one of the Reddit meme stocks, if you will, or a unicorn, whatever you want to call it. It's seen a massive run up, and it hasn't declined as much as AMC, GameStop, or these others. But like I said, there are actually some good fundamentals behind SNDL. So that's one thing to take into account. This article, I'll have it linked down below if you want to look at it. It's going over why it could potentially drop 75 to 94%. I think this is a little bit biased to the bear side of things. There's a lot of shorts as well on SNDL, so that is worth noting. But looking at what the company's doing, they've reduced all their debt to zero. They have no debt on the company. They paid off most of their stuff. They're looking very promising on the fundamental side of things, as well as the technicals as well going in the next few days. So the fact that today, or the fact on February that we held around that $1.20 range, and we're still sitting above that $1 range, as you can see there, is pretty bullish. Out of AMC, SNDL, and then GameStop, I would say SNDL has the most upside and is probably the safest out of the bunch. So overall, I do like SNDL. I like what it's doing. Even though we're having a little bit of negatives going on, the technicals are lining up as well. So we're going to get to the charts here in a second, so bear with me. But I'm feeling very good on the company. The fundamentals and the news coming out, especially with this offering being at $1 and the fact that how much they raised at that $1 price evaluation is huge for the company, guys. I cannot emphasize that enough. So let's take a look at the charts. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at, it does look like we're getting a downward channel and it wants to break up. It does look like it wants to break up, but we need to zoom in just a little bit to see exactly where we are. We're pushed below that VWAP, which I don't like to see. and then there is a little bit more downward pressure. So I do actually expect us to get a push up, and now as we're getting now, and a slow gradual trend, and then touching around this $1 marker. I don't think we'll hold below it though. So I am feeling very strongly about the stock, and getting a dump isn't always bad for the stock. Getting a retracement is not negative for the stock. So the fact that we're pushing around this area now, getting that $1 push would be just a great point for entries. And I see a lot of buying going on in this area. So if it comes down, the reaction that we get to that level will tell a lot about the stock and the potential upside in the coming days and weeks. So I think that $1 range is going to be a very big focal point, and it almost is a necessity that we test it. So I'm feeling very good regarding Sundial, and that's what I want to see there. But let's take a really quick look at the OBV, and let me tell you, I'm looking and feeling very good regarding this OBV. As you can see, we're seeing a slow gradual, we had a bear flag going on here, coming down, and now we're kind of breaking sideways, getting that consolidation. We love to see consolidation on our bullish long-term stocks. We're getting that sideways movement now. We've broken out of the channel, moving sideways, and it looks like we're going to start getting some more volume kicking in. As you've seen on the Yahoo Finance, as I pointed out, the volume was decreasing. But as you see over the past 3-4 days, we're seeing some consolidation on that sideways movement, and it's actually trending on the upside. We had a bear flag. That was a potential negative thing going on, but we've extended it, going in consolidation now, feeling very good. Any day now, we could see a very positive push up on this OBV, kicking in more buying of the stock on the bullish side of things. Looking at Sundial, I want to wrap up my thoughts regarding the stock. I'm feeling very bullish on it. I don't own any positions on it. This is just a stock I'm not touching personally, but looking at it and giving you guys an update, I think Sundial has a lot of room to go. Personally, I'm dug into Nokia and a few other plays, and then my long-term picks as well, as I'm going to mention today and tomorrow, so you don't want to miss those. I have 2 penny stocks that I'm very interested in, and they're actually valued above $1, but they're still kind of those OTC pink sheets. But I do see Sundial performing well. A touch of the $1 range will be huge, and that's where I would want to buy if I was going to buy this stock. Overall, I think there's a high possibility in the coming 1 to 2 months, especially with any news coming out of the White House regarding this overall sector, we could see a massive move up on the stock. I'm talking that 50 to $1.70 range, which would be a 50 to 70% increase on your total investment from that dollar range. I'm feeling pretty confident we get a dip down to that area, and it's looking very strong, and I think the volume will start perking up as well. That's going to wrap this video up, guys. If you got anything out of this, make sure you hit that sub button down below, leave a thumbs up, and have the notifications turned on. I'm doing my update videos daily, and then slipping in a few of the gems and long-term picks as well. After this video, like I mentioned, my long-term pick regarding the mineral stock will be up next. Give it about 30 minutes, and then it will be live. How we going, guys? Namaste.